I'm going to pass straight on to TJ and Teresa, who can talk about the education, the key to success.
All right. So I like to always take an not really opposing view, as Craig said. It's not opposing, but think differently. So when you look at what's going on, the description they provided for the abstract of this, I said, well, okay, this isn't just about providing service in home. It's about providing good service in homes. And whether that home be a building or be a single family home, doesn't really matter. So I thought this quote was very apropos to get us started. An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. So as service providers or vendors such as myself, it's always about how we help and educate people to achieve their best success. So with that in mind, education has really been helping grow things all over the world. So interestingly enough, there was a whole test that BMW did where they said, you know what, we're not selling a lot of electric vehicles. And we're like, well, why not? Why aren't we selling a lot? Well, it turned out, in their case, it was an education in how to sell electric vehicles that was actually their problem. And by going through and retooling how they were having their salespeople educate customers, potential customers, talk to potential customers, they actually grew their sales by 92%, which is pretty amazing. So thinking differently, looking at the problem differently. In addition to that, Fidelity. So Fidelity, you probably don't necessarily think of Fidelity as a company that you would go to get answers on investing. Well, actually it is. I use them for all kinds of things. I do a lot of investing through them. My company is connected with them, of course. And you can go and do a lot of research. What it does is it builds a lot of trust and confidence with clients. It helps them understand what they should or shouldn't do. They keep coming back for more information. I want this, I need this, I need this. The more they do that, the more you're building confidence and the more you're building trust. You'll hear my company Calix talk about NPS a lot, Net Promoter Score. What that really is a measurement of customer loyalty and how those customers become your best salespeople, essentially. So TJ and I happen to both be connected through a couple of different ways. One, he's my customer, but on the other hand, he and I are both the chair of the in-home experience committee here at the Fiber Broadband. So we have been working through with many people, what does it mean to actually have a good in-home experience? And this is 6 pieces that have been put together that say, this is what can make up a good in-home experience. Allow me to connect anywhere. I want to be able to manage my network easy at home, my home network. I want my data to be private. I want my family to be secure. I want all of these types of things. These all make up a good experience. We want to provide simple and meaningful data that actually helps us know whether we're getting a good experience. But in order to achieve that, we actually have to make subscribers understand. So for instance, I'm sure any of you that are a service provider out there and any of you that are a vendor have heard this story, is one, subscribers don't want to actually call you if you're a service provider. They don't want to talk to you anymore. People don't want to pick up the phone. They want an answer. They want to go online. They want to figure it out. Education is one of the ways to do that really easily. But so that is the real point of what we want to talk about. As part of our committee in the Fiber Broadband Association, we're also looking at what does it really mean to have an entire subscriber life cycle. So throughout that entire life cycle, you should have a really good experience. I don't care whether you're trying to buy a service or going online, whether you're trying to turn up additional services, or whether it's getting installed. Everything should be very simple and easy all along the way. Service delivery, customer support, and then subscriber retention. That piece that people forget about. They always want to tell you, they want to make it really hard for you to turn off the service. Well, guess what? Next time I go to turn on service, I'm not using you because you just made it really hard for me to turn you off. And all I'm doing is moving. So make it simple, make it easy, make that experience be the case all the way. And education is key because, one, it's educating service providers on how to do this all through every single step of the life cycle. But then it's also making sure subscribers understand what's the difference between Wi-Fi and what's the difference between the internet and what's the difference between fiber. What do they each provide? Those things help them understand and have context. So with that said, I'm going to ask my friend TJ to come up and talk about it from a service provider perspective.
All right, so one of the key components that we're looking at, customer experience is more than speed. Everybody now, we're all moving towards multi-gig service. That's not really that much of a differentiator anymore. And people aren't that concerned with speed, we found. They're more concerned with, what do you have for me, what works for me. So there's a lot of products out there, a lot of services out there that we're all aware of. Some of the few, like a smart business solutions, backup solutions, how can I protect my kids in and outside of the house, those type of things. And some customers do think that speed is what matters. So until they know what else is available. So for example, if you're a small business and you're using a Calix smart biz solution, understanding, asking the right questions to the customers, what do you need, what will help, understanding their situation, actively listening to that. And then we're able to sell them on that, based on that experience and not so much on the speed. Understanding those needs, proactively listening, providers that listen and pay attention to their customers, those are the ones that become, indispensable. Some of the use cases for that, again, that's the things you got to think about. Smart biz, what are businesses needed? What are you working remotely? Are you working do you have a smart home? Those type of things. One of the examples that we have is we provide, I'm sure a lot of you do, like a gamer package. So for a gamer package, to understand, you can go to those folks and say, hey, we're more than just a gig internet provider. We have tools to help you troubleshoot your gaming. We have ways you can log in, you can check your, you can set up your router to where you can dedicate bandwidth between these hours throughout the day to make sure that your computer or your Xbox or whatever is getting the most out of it. So being able to understand those situations and present those options to people helps drive adoption. If they don't know that it's there, they don't know how to use it, doesn't do any good to have the service. So what we want to do is try to lead to higher adoption rates to create that sticky service to keep people interested. So that's starting with the relevance. Again, you have to understand where they're coming from. These educational tools, not only do they help you with sales, they also help with, customer service. Being able to train your customers on how to operate different things. If they're able to log in and look at their own router, they're able to make their own adjustments. They can make it simple to create a network so they can create their own, home network to where they might want to dedicate something for people that are coming over to protect their data. Given that education so they understand how that works, that is the most important piece, in my opinion, is trying to make sure that customers understand what they have, and that drives the engagement. We've seen it with things such as Bark. So we have the option for Bark. We provide that service, which is, if you're not familiar with it, helps protect your children, things like that. For cyberbullying, those type of things, we offer that. And it goes, again, we've been talking about the smart home, this in-home experience going further than the home. So some of these services, they learn about, they can take outside of their house, bring them into the community, it travels with them on their phone, those type of things. But with the Bark instance specifically, people didn't know it was there. So we've searched for ways to try to get it out there and show the relevance and show, what that actually offers and, what that does to help them. Because it's one thing to say, yeah, we have gig service. Well, the next person might have gig service. Well, we have good customer service. Well, the next person's going to say the same thing. But if we can show, like, hey, we do this, but we can also protect your children. We can give you, parental controls. We can give you access to where, when you're traveling into your city, you might be able to connect to other devices through a smart home or a smart town application, to where we set up receivers throughout the city, and you can connect as you move around. So those type of things, selling based on those has been very helpful for us. And I'm sure everybody else would say the same thing. Creating those connections with creating these sticky services, that helps, maintain the customer base. It drives up the Net Promoter Score. It helps everyone, understand what they have. So again, education, driving that engagement, making sure everybody's using it. That helps with Net Promoter, helps get the word out. Other people are, paying attention. It's word of mouth. Another example is I mentioned the Smart Biz solution. So one of the biggest things that we're working on right now is we have a solution for businesses that it is a Calix Smart Biz, but basically they're able to have a backup provider or a backup. So what that does is they're able to have their primary network. They're able to have a backup, mobile backup that seamlessly connects. So if the service goes down, it basically just takes the place of the fiber connection and allows them to stay online through a mobile hotspot or something like that. That also allows them to be able to have a separate network because they need a separate network for POS systems, things like that. But the key is they're able to control that themselves. So they can go in, they can set up their own access networks. They can set it up to where they have their own splash page where people are showing up to their business, their restaurant or whatever. They're able to connect. The network is completely separate. They control all the access. They control everything passing through there. With that is the biggest selling point for it. I mean, not understanding those customers where in the past, the businesses we've had, this is kind of a new thing we're doing. We were able to offer a good service. We were able to offer high speeds, but being able to offer, some of those things and making sure that they understand that, understanding what they're looking for. The same, everybody's not looking for the same thing, obviously. So it's a matter of asking the right questions, finding a way to understand what your customer is looking for. And with all that said, that kind of leads to a better retention and Net Promoter Score. So, and I will turn it back over to Teresa here.
Craig's going to make you clap after every single person talks. Okay, good to know.
I'm English.
Okay.
I'm going to be polite. Sorry.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Okay, so just as an example, so you heard some few examples from TJ on different ways to help, think about how to communicate with subscribers to try and, elevate the experience beyond just the basic speed and feeds type discussion. What you're seeing here is some examples of education that you can provide to to subscribers. Safety and cyber crime is insane. What is it? I think I saw the number as like a $340 billion business in the next 2 years. It's amazing how many people are losing money from this type of thing. So those are the types of things that can be provided to educate subscribers. Video streaming, understand how everybody's moving off of base cable TV. How can they stream? So giving them good education. These are the types of things that help subscribers feel like they're getting a good experience. They come to you as a service provider and rely on you as their expert, their partner in achieving that experience at home. So with that said, I want to thank you, and you may now clap if you wish.